Okay, today's stuff is exactly like yesterday's stuff, except remember I gave you those two extra reasons that we didn't use yesterday? Yeah. Today they're added to the assignment. So it's going to be like before. They're going to give you a picture, and if the lines are parallel, you got to give the reason why. If they're not, you just put no. So remember, we are going to have a test on Thursday on this sections 3.1 to 3.5. A big part of the test is problems just like we're doing today on the assignment. You're going to have a picture and you got to say what makes the lines parallel or if they're not. So there's 6 ways to prove lines are parallel.
Sure.
4 from yesterday.
4 of them were yesterday's.
Are you,
Of course.
for the test, are you going to have that up?
Nope, you need to know this.
You memorize it?
Yep. Corresponding angles are congruent.
Okay.
Alternate interior angles are congruent. Alternate exterior angles are congruent.
Okay.
Same side interior angles are supplementary. And then today's stuff, they add this in there, and again, these aren't used very often. It's if they're perpendicular to the same line. This one is when you have a picture like this. Line A and B got to be parallel because they're perpendicular to the same line. Now technically, this one you can use any of the top 4. You could use, I'll just put 1 through 5. Because if you see a picture like this, you see corresponding angles are congruent. Alternate interior would have to be congruent because this is 90 also. Alternate exterior would be congruent because these would be 90. And the same side interior add up to 180. So that's why when you see this picture, you could put any one of these 5 reasons and it'd be correct. So you don't have to use reason 5, but you can. And then the 6th one is if they're parallel to the same line. And they have a picture right here. You would be given all of this information. It's when there's 3 lines, and they got to give you this information that P is parallel to Q and Q is parallel to R. So then you would know P and R are parallel because they're parallel to the same line. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this one, it should be the easiest to remember, but sometimes it's not. So in this picture right here, they've got a picture of a fence. Each post going in the ground, they say, is line 1, L2, line 3, line 4. Each fence post is parallel to the fence post immediately next to it. So when they put these in, they make this one straight up and down, and then they make this one straight up and down, using a level, right?
Yeah.
So you know then, since they're both straight up and down, they are parallel. And then they make this one parallel and this one parallel. Well, how do you know then that line 1 and L4, line 4 are parallel? Because they're parallel to the same lines. Would be reason 6. Okay? In this one, you're building a picture frame. You cut the wood so that 1 and 4 are 30 and 2 and 3 are 60. So 1 and 4 are 30, 2 and 3 are 60. So they're wondering, can we prove that the sides are parallel? So when they ask you, how can you prove lines are parallel, you just give which one of these reasons. So in this picture, why do you know that the sides are parallel?
Because of the angle.
Remember, when they ask you how you can prove it, you give one of the reasons. Which one of those reasons proves that this picture, the sides are parallel?
5.
5. they're perpendicular to the same line. 30 and 60 makes 90. 30 and 60 makes 90. This side and this side are both perpendicular to this.
You should let us like write those on our sheet with the numbers and then just write what number it is, because that would make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of writing it.
Then you really wouldn't know it.
Yeah, probably.
Now, there is another reason you could use for this. What other reason 1 through 6?
Same side here.
yeah.
Same side interior angles are supplementary. Okay? Are all the vertical lines parallel to each other?
Yes, they are.
And why?
Because they all are on
Which one of those 6 reasons proves that
the 5 and 6.
they're perpendicular to the same line? They all have a 90 on the lines.
What does it say underneath 5? Can you use 1 through 5?
You can use any one of these reasons would work on this picture. Just like I got just done explaining. If you have this picture, they are perpendicular to the same line, but corresponding angles are both 90, so you could use this. Alternate interior angles are both 90, so you could use that. Alternate exterior are both 90, so you could use that. Same side interior are both 90, they add up to 180. So, on that picture, you could use this, or these would work also. That's it. It's just like yesterday's assignment. I'm going to put it up there though and show you a couple of them.
Stop it, Jared.
My God, what should I say?
Jared.
Jared. Calm
You
down.
beat him.
You don't know what
What?
down there.
Jared.
Tell me how perfect.
That was pretty perfect.
That's what you
Found
say.
it. I was like, I asked this.
How does it go?
No, did you see the next picture?
Like 4:15.
What if I'm not annoying? And you're annoying.
No, that's about 30 minutes.
Oh,
Stupid notes
you
that
just
you're
got
booty emoji group chat.
No.
that was yesterday.
Yeah, that was.
So, on page
We made a new one. That might
Hey,
be
check it,
for
check
me.
it out.
160.
160.
You just got heard.
Or do the frog and then the copycat.
No.
Old school.
Kind of jumps around a little bit.
It's like the first.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
that looks like a lot.
Oh.
Holy crap.
It's not.
Holy man.
It's not, no.
It's just spread.
Ultimate.
I know.
Hey, I'm like,
I'm gonna be.
These first ones, 2 through 5, state the theorem you can use to prove that R is parallel to S. Determine which must be parallel, explain your reasoning.
Oh my God.
So, for most of this assignment, it's just when it says state the theorem that makes them parallel, you just put which one of these 6 reasons it is. So, for number 1, or number 2, it's given to us that R is parallel to T and T is to S, so
6.
it's reason 6. They're parallel to the same line.
nice.
Number 3, what makes S and T parallel?
5.
Perpendicular to the same line. But you could have said corresponding angles are congruent because they're both marked, the corresponding angles are marked as 90. And you could have used alternate interior or alternate exterior or same side interior on this picture. Any one of them except for parallel to the same line.
Number 4 would be the.
Now, 4 and 5, there's a little more to it. Same thing when you get to 21 through 24. The rest of them are just putting what reason it is, except for these two and 21 through 24. So when you get to these, you gotta say which lines are parallel, if any, and then say why. So if we look at these two lines, M1 and M2, are they parallel?
Yes, they are.
Yes, so your answer is M1 is parallel to M2, and then you gotta put the reason why.
Okay. Alright.
And what is it? Perpendicular to the same line.
Would you put the other ones too?
Yep, that's only part of your answer.
So,
Sorry.
M1 and M2 are parallel because they're perpendicular to this line right here. They're perpendicular to the same line. But then you gotta check the other two. L1 and L2, are they parallel?
Looks like it. Yes.
Because they're also perpendicular to the same line. So you gotta put L1 is parallel to L2,
Yes.
and then the reason why is they're perpendicular to the same line.
So we have to write all that?
Well, that's the answer.
Is it number 5?
So if you wanna get it right, yeah.
Isn't 5 the same thing?
Huh?
Isn't 5 the same thing?
Well, reason number 5 is perpendicular to the same line, yeah.
No, for number 5.
Oh, for number 5, no, it isn't.
because they're not.
They're not 90, they're just equal. See, they don't have the squares.
Okay.
So when you do number 5, I'll give you a second to write this down. So you gotta have both of these for 4.
My guess. This one's there?
Yeah. That's it. Dude, you know what? You're be super.
So for 5, L1 and L2, I can't use this line because there's nothing marked up here, but I can use this. Is there any one of those reasons that make L1 parallel to L2?
Alternate exterior.
Close.
Interior.
They're inside, so these are alternate interior. So L1 is parallel to L2 because alternate interior angles are congruent. And then we gotta check M1 and M2. Now, we can't use this line because they only have something marked here, they have nothing marked there. Remember, you gotta have something on each line. So this is the line we gotta use there. Does any of these work for that?
Alternate interior?
Same side.
They're not alternate interior because they don't alternate sides.
The same side.
Same side, interior angles, are they supplementary?
No. Yes.
Wait, how do you know if they're supplementary or?
Exactly, how do you know if they're supplementary?
Yeah.
They're equal,
I don't know.
but they could each be 80 degrees. We don't know.
So you can't really.
So no, so the only one we know is this one. So that's the only one you put. So the same thing when you get to these, you can check PQ, QR, and then if they're equal, then PRR, and then you gotta check ST. Here you just gotta check these two. Here you gotta check these two, these two, these two, and those. So there's more than one answer for these 4. You do them the same way we just did these. There might be just one set, there might be 2 sets, there might be 3 sets.
So then 11 through 13 or 8 through
Yeah,
13.
you just say what reason makes them parallel, if any. Yeah,
We have to do PR, and then QR,
for which one?
21.
Well, you gotta check. For example, P is parallel to Q because corresponding angles are congruent. Q is parallel to R because same side interior angles are supplementary. So since P is the Q and Q is the R, you know P is the R because they're parallel to the same line. So there's 3 sets that are parallel there, but then when you check here, on this line cutting through, we only know one thing. We don't know anything up there, so this line doesn't work. Here, we do know that's 80 and we just know that, so that doesn't help us. And here, we only know that's 100, we know nothing down there, so that doesn't. So we can't tell S and T.
So just right now.
No,
Oh, you're right.
because I just got done saying, you know these 2 are because corresponding angles. You know these 2 are because same side interior are supplementary. So then you know these are because they're parallel to the same line.
So P.
So there are 3 answers to it, but then these are not, so you just leave them off.
So can we write P? So we just need to. Do we need to write all of the ones?
Yeah, so P is parallel to Q because corresponding angles are congruent. Q is parallel to R because same side interior angles are supplementary. And then P is parallel to R because they're parallel to the same line. So sometimes there may be just 1, sometimes there may be 2, sometimes there may be none that are parallel on 21 through 24.